Vergo brings the pain in my review of One Piece episode 609. As a fan of action anime, this episode had everything. It had all types of fights going on. It opened up immediately with Vergo and Law, and I loved this scene. I loved the build up to it. I loved when all of a sudden Vergo just enters the room. He's like freaking Doc Holliday. Why, Trafalgar Law, looks like somebody just walked over your grave. Before you get too acquainted with the whole Law versus Vergo battle, we get to go back to Monet versus Luffy, and I really love this fight, and the more I see it, I think Monet is probably my favorite female villain in the series so far. And a lot of it probably just has to do with her design and the way they use it. It's gotta be those creepy eyes. But getting to see her abilities are also really cool. She's a really interesting Logia type. You know, I mean, with snow, it's interesting because it can be solid and a liquid at the same time. But I love the way she defends herself against Luffy, and she even admits that she probably wouldn't even be able to beat him because she's not as strong as him, but the strongest isn't the one who always wins. And she sort of has the upper hand at first. She actually starts to almost embrace or hug Luffy, and this causes him to start to freeze. And I really like this scene. It's very creepy. What I love most about the scene is how Luffy gets snapped out of this situation. He remembers the words that Zoro was telling him to get a grip. They're just starting their adventure in the new world. And Luffy just immediately powers up and gets out of this situation, and he does something really clever and maybe stupid at the same time. I don't know. There's just something about these shonen characters who come up with these plans on the fly. But essentially, he stomps the ground and creates this giant hole, but it causes him to fall below. Monet thinks this sort of works out for her because, you know, two birds with one stone. Luffy falls down this tunnel and eventually makes his way to this giant trash heap where I think maybe he's knocked out, but you don't really see him for the rest of the episode. We transition to a scene with Chopper, who's trying to stop all of these kids from making their way into the biscuit room, and he's in his giant monster form, and he can't really do anything here, but the kids are constantly just attacking him left and right with pipes and punching him and biting him and just fucking his shit right up, and Chopper just can't really do anything. He's just too nice of a guy. Chopper's Rumble Ball wears off, and eventually his powers do as well, and he transforms back into the little Chopper we all know and love. Luckily for him, he's scooped up by Nami and the rest of the remaining Straw Hat Pirates, who are trying to make their way to the biscuit room as well. The kids here are absolutely flipping their shit trying to get to that candy. They must have been listening to a little bit of MCP Pants. They don't just want candy, they need candy. Mocha's the only one who's in the right state of mind and trying to tell all the kids, you can't have the candy, it's gonna mess you up. And all the Straw Hats make their way into the room, and they all get trapped by Monet. She has this like giant snow wall that blocks the door. The end of the episode gives the viewer exactly what they want. Vergo being a complete badass. He is one of the most hardcore villains I've seen in this series. And he beats the hell out of Law in this episode. I mean, Law does get this one good counter move against him, but for the most part, Vergo just walks up and down Law's face left and right. Just everything from punching him, hitting him with the bamboo, and even squeezing his heart, which Law does try to take back, but to no avail. Vergo just kicks the fuck out of him. The episode ends with Vergo literally torturing Law by squeezing his heart, when all of a sudden, Smoker shows up, and that's when we get that classic to be continued screen, getting us excited for next week's episode, and I cannot wait. I love seeing Smoker fight. He's easily my favorite Marine. This was just another really fun episode of One Piece, and it's always a joy to get to watch this every week. I really only have one negative to say about this week's episode, and that's that they went back to that one scene that they had at the very end of last week's episode with that little girl commenting about the boy Momonosuke, who is the son of Kinemon, and he transformed into a dragon and made his way into this secret room that Caesar Clown has happened to be making his way into as well. But they don't really do too much with this. They sort of show like what happened afterward with the two guards like trying to figure out what the hell they're going to do. You know, they just have to keep this really secret, and they have to tell Caesar about it. But otherwise, there was a lot of really cool action this week, and the animation was pretty damn good. There were a lot of moments I felt were animated really well. Particularly the battle scenes with Monet and Luffy, and even the scene where he's just like falling and everything and trying to run back up. All of that was animated very well. I stand by what I said about Monet. I think she's a great female villain. She's very creepy and sexy at the same time, and she's the perfect complement to Vergo, who is just as insane, and just getting to see him wail on Law is both cool, but it's also kind of disappointing, because you want to see Law kick his ass. But it looks like it's going to be Smoker versus Vergo, and I cannot wait to see that, because obviously the grudge between those two has been building up over the last couple of months, and we can definitely tell that Smoker wants his revenge hardcore. So like I said, I only had one complaint, so I'm going to bump this episode down to a 9 out of 10. A lot of really fun action. All of your main characters get to make an appearance. Almost all of the Straw Hat crew get to do something pretty interesting. So a lot of really good stuff. I hope it continues this pace for the next couple of weeks, because Punk Hazard is definitely turning into a big action fest, and I love action. So 9 out of 10, pretty awesome episode in my opinion, but how did you guys feel about this week's episode? Did you have any favorite moments? Are you looking forward to the battle between Smoker and Vergo? You can let me know with your comments below. And remember guys, before you leave, make sure and give the video a thumbs up, and make sure and check out some of these other videos we got up top. And remember to thumbs up and subscribe. I will see you next time guys. Super Comic Guru 9000, out.